Hi everyone. Oh, it's 10. Interesting. So let's talk about the story time of MWA. Muwa. What is Muwa? What is Muwa? I know Nuwa. But what is Muwa meaning? Or Muwa sugarcane. Interesting. In English, sugarcane. Okay. I have family from the islands, and I remember this one time that we went to Jamaica and we got some sugarcane from this like old sugarcane. I don't know if it was a plant. I'm trying to remember, where was it? I think we're in Ocho Rios, and this sugar cane, was it on a plantation or an old plantation site or something? I can't even remember, but that sugar cane was so good. I can still remember the taste of it. So delicious. Now, of course, you have to like spit out the reeds, or I don't know if that's what they call them, but that's what it tastes like. You're like biting reeds. The reeds, but the sugar cane was so good. Oh my gosh. That's what it's making me think about. Mua. Sukari. Okay. Ooh, interesting. So in kanji letters, mua is a dream. Something you see. Hold on, wait. Something you see. Oh. Now, where did it go, child? Go back. Navi. Interesting. Huh. Navi, huh? Okay. Interesting. Okay. Has multiple readings. Muwa. Okay. And then it says something about a dream. This is like I'm guessing this is a Chinese site. I think it's a Chinese site. And I do not know how to navigate it to get the full definition of this word. Okay, so it says, a dream, something you see as if it were real when you are asleep, something you hope to achieve in the future, a pleasant thought that takes you away from reality, something fleeting and uncertain. It also can represent peace, tranquility, to soothe, to be quiet, to get along, combine, to mix, to blend, to match, to set in order, to set the tone, a moderate appearance, a calm sea. Okay. Interesting. It's making me think also of Moo. What is Moo? I feel like I've seen that somewhere. Moo. Oh yeah, we were just talking about that in the other one, the beach, meaning the beach. So I guess maybe they are connected to each other. And of course, we are going to be talking about something that happened kind of, sort of, in the dream world, because I don't know what this exactly was. Okay, so this is a time that I'm pretty sure that I met Cyrus, and I'm gonna like double down on that, because yesterday my kids were outside, and this is like the same thing that happened that I talked about in the astro, where I talked about the purple-eyed werewolves and Patrick, where I have a child, Rose, and she was playing outside with other kids, and I heard her talking with our other son, with our son Ace, and I remember her saying, "Cyrus, that's so funny," and I was like, "What?" And I had just asked myself earlier, I was like, how do I know that this was actually Cyrus? Like, how do I know it was actually Cyrus? And she was like, Cyrus, that's so funny. And then Ace was like, you know, be nice to Cyrus. And then they start calling him Silas, which is connected to Sylvanus, which is a whole nother story. But yeah, they were talking about Cyrus for like 10 minutes. And, you know, if you like have young kids, you know that like they get, you know, like if they have dolls and trucks, like it's like Trucky or, you know, Dolly or some name that they already know. You know, maybe they'll say 2014 must be significant. Something, you know, that they have awareness of. They usually don't just come up with like random names to call stuff. And like I said earlier that day, I was thinking about this interaction. I was like, how do I know that actually was Cyrus? And then as I talk about it, you'll see why I was not sure about who it was. Okay, so, ooh, it's 10:33. That's my, and 10:27. Interesting. So he must be connected to the red heifer too. Crazy like a fox. What? Okay. So this was very interesting because on this particular day, okay, so I had this dream, which is so strange. So strange. I'm going to talk about this other experience later, but let me focus because everything is connected into everything all together, all at once. Okay. So I had this dream on October the 2nd, the night of October 2nd, going into October 3rd. Okay. Now, October 2nd is significant because I had a dream about that Donnie Darko bunny. And, you know, Donnie Darko, the day that he meets this Donnie Darko bunny, this crazy psycho looking bunny, whose name is Frank, is October 2nd, like 1988, I think. I was just looking it up. I think it's 1988. And then, like, previously, like, back probably like 2 or 3 years ago, I'd had a very significant dream on October 2nd. And I can't remember exactly what that dream is about. I have to really think about it. And then that's connected to Medusa and a whole lot of stuff. So I'm going to have to talk about that at another time because that was pretty wild. But anyways, let's get to this. So on that day, October 2nd, which I wasn't consciously thinking about October 2nd on that day, but there was this tarot reading that I listened to online. And this woman was like, if you pick this pile, she was like, there's going to be some type of spiritual interaction that's coming to you. And she was like, you've been preparing for this. You're going to be fine. She was like, I think it's going to take you off guard, but just like relax, you know? And I've had like a few experiences with like entities actually coming to talk to me like in real time. So the very first time it happened, I totally freaked out, and that being was like, okay, she's freaking out, so this wasn't the right decision. So he started coming to me in dreams instead, which I appreciated because it's a very, oh my gosh, this is a scion in front of me. Oh my God. Okay, we're going to talk about the scion dream later. But scion must be really important. What? Okay. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, so I'm going to focus though. Okay, so back to what I was talking about. I was like, this car has been sitting here and like maybe I'm missing something. And it's a Scion logo. It's a Scion. What? Okay. Okay, so she was talking about like, this is not in a dream, this is like in actual reality, waking reality, because it's all actually reality, but waking reality. Look, I promise you, I just said this is a Scion. I was like, it's been sitting here for a while, and literally like the woman just got in the car. I don't even know where she came from, and she's literally driving off after I was like, oh, it must be a Scion. She literally is driving away right now. What? You better get up out of here. And she's got 29 on the back of her car. 729, 529. That is so wild. I don't even know where she came from. It's 10/31 Halloween. I don't even know where she came from when she got in this car, because I was just looking at the car the whole time, and then she just left. What? Okay. Focus. Okay, so anyways, I had told myself after the first one, I was like, I have to really practice, because maybe this is like a part of life, and I'm going to have these, 444 New York. Okay, 444 New York. And I feel like it's a New York mansion, or New York millions. Yeah, 62 million. New York millions. Okay, focus, DeeDee, focus. And I told myself, like, okay, maybe this is like just a part of my life, and I'm gonna have to get really comfortable with having really wild experiences in reality. Like, don't freak out, especially when you're dealing with like QHHT. Sometimes spirits like actually come through and talk to you directly, and it's a very strange experience, to say the least bit. It's a very strange experience. And I remember that Dolores Cannon said that sometimes when what she calls is the subconscious, when it comes through, she said that sometimes it's so powerful that you will want to bow to them, and you might get scared interacting with them. Oh, look, Ava 77, that's Oz. She was like, you might get scared when they come through because it's so powerful. And I had not had that experience yet. So I was like, oh, I wonder what she means about that. So I'm thinking about all these things, and she was like, when this interaction comes through, because it's going to be kind of shocking to you, she was like, basically stay grounded. Like, the universe and, this energy are coming through to like give you a message. Like, don't freak out, try to stay grounded and get the message. So I was like, okay. Now, you get these kind of prophecies of something going to happen, right? And you don't know exactly when it's going to happen. It could be that day, which most of the time it's usually not. It could be like, a week from now. It could be, a year from now. Very rarely does it come with a time frame. So I was like, okay, interesting. So I just wrote it down. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to write it down. And then usually what happens is I go back over my notes at some crazy time, and then I start putting things together on how that came to pass. It's very rarely that like something happens in the moment and I directly associate and be like, oh, this is what I wrote was going to happen 2 months ago. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, this is what I wrote, and this is how it came to pass. And I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. Look, CG again. Okay. So anyway, so I was like, okay, cool. So this is so interesting, because later on that night, now they are so ridiculous, because they're trying to hit these pigeons. Some people are just bat stuff crazy. Like, okay. Okay. Like, this car saw these pigeons in the street, and like they like sped up to like almost try to hit them. Like, these people are actually nuts. Like, who does that? Anyways. So later on that night, we're going to sleep. Me and Ray were going to sleep, and I noticed that he has his hand on my back. Okay. And we are not like a couple that, we're like, what, going on like, how many years have we been together? Oh my gosh. Wait, 10, 11, right? 11? Hold on, wait. 2024 and 2012 is 12 years. Yeah. So we've been together 11 years, going on 12 years. Okay. So we real seasoned in this thing, okay? And we're just not a couple that, sleeps cuddled up and stuff like that. Like, I like my side of the bed. He likes his side of the bed. We have, like, separate covers because we tend to tussle over covers. So we'll, like, hug up for, like, a little bit. But then we're like, okay, we're ready to really get into this sleep. And so that's when we get really comfortable, right? So anyways, I noticed, like, periodically throughout the night that his hand was on my back. And I was like, what is that about? And it felt like I don't know how to say it, but it felt like something was trying to establish a connection to like my body. So I'm like, okay. But I'm kind of like in and out of the dream world and stuff like that. So like I'm noticing it kind of subconsciously, but not really. So in one of these moments, because I was pretty up and down throughout the night, which is not necessarily super out of the norm because we have kids and we've been having kids for 8 years. So being up throughout the night is definitely a thing. But anyways, I was just noticing it. Like I get up to use the bathroom or the baby would be up or something like that. So I have to put him back to sleep or something like that. It was just like a very up and down night. But I remember that every time I laid down, his hand would just like find my back and he was like sleep. So I'm like, that's kind of interesting. Lydia and Kyra, interesting. So I'm like, okay, this is interesting. So then, there's one of these times where I was, getting back comfortable, getting back to go to sleep. And I could have sworn that I saw someone walk into the room. And that's when I thought about this tarot reading. And I was like, oh, like, are we about to have like this interaction tonight? Like, is that why Reiki's putting his hand on me? Like, is that energy trying to establish a physical connection? And maybe they're having like a problem orienting or something like that. I don't know. So I was like, wait, what? So I saw someone come into the room and they passed over my head in some type of way. So I was like, yo, this is wild. Like, this is actually wild. So, but then I kind of drifted off because I have these kind of experiences, like, pretty frequently, even if it's in the dream world or something like that. So I was just like, okay, come and talk to me in the dream world. That's usually what I say. Okay, just come and talk to me in the dream world. Like, like, just come and talk to me in the dream world, okay? Because it's still a strange experience. I'm laughing, but it's still strange. So I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready for that. Like, I have to, like, get these kids ready for school tomorrow. Like, I've got a lot going on. So anyways, that's what I said. And then I drifted back off to sleep. So the next thing I know, I woke up. And this is important because I woke up. This is a very strange experience. I woke up and Ray's hand, again, was on my back. And it felt like I had to grasp for air. Like, it felt like something took the wind out of me. Like, like when you're a kid and you fall and the wind gets taken out of you. That's what it felt like. And I was like, like I made this big gulp for air, like, because I could like feel it. And I felt like it was almost like making a V into like my chest and my heart center. And so I was like, oh my gosh, what is that? And then like, I was like, that's strange. And sometimes when something's strange, I just go back to sleep. I'm like, okay, wild behavior, whatever. And so I'm like laying down again and I'm facing away from Ray. That's like the purpose of me saying it. I'm facing away from Ray. So I lay back down and I'm facing away from Ray. But his hand is on my back again. So I'm like, okay. So, but I'm tired. Like, we're like sleep deprived and everything. I'm tired. So I'm like, okay, I'm sure that we'll figure out what's going on. I don't know. Maybe I'll have like a really wild dream tonight. So I'm facing away from him, but then I start to feel like his body shifting around and I could hear someone talking through him. I kid you not. This is probably like the third time that's happened. I could hear someone talking through him. So I'm like freaking out. Like immediately my fight or flight response kicks in. But then I remember that woman and she was like, you're going to have an interaction and don't freak out. It's something that you have asked for, the universe, and you are like conspiring to bring this together. The spirit is bringing it together. Don't freak out. So I'm like, okay. I wasn't expecting this to happen like tonight, but okay, I'm not going to freak out. So I didn't know if like I should turn my head or what, but I actually felt the spirit adjusting itself like in Ray's body. So I'm like, what? And then I was like, oh, okay, so that's why I lost my breath, because they have to do some type of like physical anchoring. So I'm like, oh, he must be coming to communicate. Because I knew that this was a male energy. I was like, he must be coming to actually like really talk. And it must be a lot of process to like them actually talking in this way. wild. So, I kind of feel like the energy adjusted, and there was like this radiance in the room. It was actually wild. It was a radiance in the room, and the light came on. And the light came on in the room. So I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, it was kind of seamless. I didn't really notice it exactly when it happened, because it's not like I heard the light click on. It just came on. And we've had that before, like where, you know, we have like this very particular light in the room that really doesn't come on unless you press like a switch or you have the remote. And that light has come on by itself. And I remember there's one time that it did it, and like, the two younger kids were in the room with me, and I remember it was so funny. The baby looked at me, was like, but he saw that I didn't have the remote in my hand. And so he was looking at me like, how did that happen? And we looked at each other for a while. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. And it was so funny because I didn't even know that he had already made the association that you need the remote to turn this light on. Because it was like pretty dark. Like it was getting dark outside. But there was like, we had the light on our back porch that was kind of lighting up this room. So it's pretty dark in the room. And like I said, I didn't even know that he had already put together that you need the remote to turn on this specific light. So as soon as the light came on, both of them looked at me. But it was really funny because the baby looked like, how did that happen? And so I'm looking back at him, and then my daughter was like, who turned the light on? And I was like, girl, I don't know. So anyways, I'm just saying that we have lights turn on and stuff like that. And I know that's like, you know, a spirit communicating. So anyways, at some point I realized that the light had come on in the room, and I was like, oh snap, like this is really about to like happen today. So I'm like getting myself prepared. I'm like, we're safe. Everybody is safe. It's just someone that's coming to talk, because I didn't even know who was coming to talk. Child, I could feel the radiance, and I finally felt that feeling that Dolores was talking about when she was like, it makes you want to bow to them, because this energy came in so powerfully. And like I said, I wasn't even looking at, right? My head was like still on the pillow looking away, and I'm just internalizing everything that's going on, and I'm trying not to freak out because I know that they're also telepathic. So I'm like, I'm trying to calm myself down, like, let me know when you're ready. And so something happened. I was okay, he must be ready to talk now. So I was trying to turn my head, and I had to tell myself, like, you're gonna be okay, don't panic, like he's just coming to have a conversation, it's gonna be okay. And it was actually hard for me to turn my head. It was that powerful of an energy. Like it was so hard for me to turn my head. So I finally turned my head, and I promise you, I saw him. Like, I don't know how, or I don't know how to tell it to you, but like I saw him. I saw him. And it was like, once I finally got my head to him, it felt like a magnet. That's what I would say. Like at first it was kind of like magnets, like where you're being pulled towards the energy, but you're still resistant to it. But then when I finally turned my head to him, it was like we were locked in, and I couldn't turn away. Like I was like locked in the experience with him. It was very interesting. And so I saw his face. Like I could draw it. If I could draw, I could draw it. He had like one of these big, huge, like kind of gold, intricately designed, and I actually looked this up. Specifically, it was like a midnight hat. I'll definitely, when I go back and do timestamps and all that stuff and links and stuff like that, I will find a picture of it. But actually, he actually looked very similar to when I looked up Sirius the Great to see like who he was and what he was about and everything. He actually looked very similar to what you typically see when you look up Sirius the Great. Like he had a very, oh look, an owl. He had a very like husky build, like not overweight, but just a big man, like a big head, not like a big head, but like just a sturdy person. I don't know, like I'm trying to think about who is like that. and just kind of like naturally big, like not just, like working out type of big, but just, I'm trying to think of like, who I'm thinking about, like haggard kind of, like just a stocky, not stocky because that kind of connotes like short, because he wasn't short. This was a big man. He was also tall too. Like a strong or build, big neck. I don't know, child. Me trying to describe it just doesn't sound correct, but it's just not coming together how I want it to come together, okay? But anyways, this is a very big man. Okay. He had this huge hat on his head. He was definitely like olive tone skin. He was not a darker. Oh, look, this guy is back. CG 3686 is back. He was not, like some people are like, oh, the original, whoever, dark skin. This was not like a dark skinned man in that sense. He had like the deep kind of Mediterranean olive colored, kind of like toasted brown skin. He definitely looked like Persian or something like that. And like I said, he had like a Midianite crown on his head. And he had on these garbs. I don't know how to really describe them, but he definitely had on these kind of royal type of garbs and stuff like that. And so as I was staring at him, it was almost like hypnotizing, because he started talking to me, and he was talking to me in another language, child. It was not English. And I remember thinking, like, is he playing? And I know I was like so ignorant. I was like, is he playing around? And he was talking to me directly, like we were eyes to eyes, and he was talking to me. And the language was so foreign to me that it sounded like gibberish. And then like my brain clicked in, and I was like, oh, he must be talking a language that I have not heard before. Like, I've not heard this language before. And the best way I can describe it, like, it was a very deep tone. Like, he had a very deep voice. It was a very deep tone. And there was a lot of kind of like what I would say, like mouse kind of words. Not like the sound of a mouse, but a lot of M and S and like closed mouth and then open mouth words that were very hypnotic. Like, I felt like I was being hypnotized listening to him, and I like could not turn away. And he was like transferring his energy too, which is a very calming, very kind of like more of a paternal type of energy. Like, I didn't feel like he was my dad, but I felt like he had reached a certain level, I guess, of like emotional maturity. He was a very mature and wise type of person. He didn't come in as like, I'm a king and, that type of vibe. It was very much like person to person. And like I said, I did not understand what he was saying, because he was not speaking English at all. Like, at all. Like, he was not speaking English at all. And I was like, what language is this? So what I did was, instead of trying to figure it out, right, and, like, oh my gosh, I don't know what he's talking about, blah, 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 I was like, DeeDee, like, just let him talk, and your subconscious will know what he's talking about, and eventually in some type of way we will figure out what he's saying. So I just let him talk to me, and I just listened. And so then afterwards, it was very interesting, because seamlessly, now this was so interesting, seamlessly I started to realize that I was like sitting up with my hand, like listening attentively to him. Like, when you have like two teenage girls, they're like, leaning on their arms on the bed talking to each other, like that's what we look like. So we had like seamlessly transitioned from him laying down talking to me, where we were like face to face talking to each other like old friends. It was very interesting. And then that's when I noticed that there was like 3 other guys in the room. And so then this other guy interrupted what this guy was saying. And he started talking. And I knew that he was some type of African king. And when I heard his voice, I was like, oh, he's the one that I originally heard. So I told you there was someone that was speaking through Ray. And that was not this person that came through. This is another person. So that guy started talking, and he was like a Nigerian king. I have no clue what his name was, but he had learned English. So I knew that he was a more modern king, you know, like probably in the 1900s, 2000, something like that. He was a pretty modern king. Now, he had a very different, and he definitely had like, I'm a king, respect me, and like, you're a female, so you are not less than him, but that I, by default, should be subservient to him. And so, anyways, then I saw this other guy who was definitely very modern, like someone we would see like at college or something like that, which I don't know who he was, but he was definitely like a skateboard kind of kid. And then the other person, I can't remember who he was, but it was another male energy. There was a lot of male energies in there. So anyways, I guess they were irritated that I was like just talking to the Persian guy. And that's why the Nigerian guy interrupted, because I didn't even see them at first. I didn't even see the other people. And I didn't even know how they got there. And then the Nigerian person did something I found disrespectful, and it broke the connection. It was so interesting. He did something, and I immediately was repulsed by him. Oh, look, 77 again. I was immediately repulsed, and so I pulled back. And when I pulled back my energy, it severed the connection. And so it severed it, not where it was an abrupt thing, but I literally saw them moving away, and then I saw them shift. This was the craziest thing. This is the best way I can describe it. I saw them shift almost to a different version of reality. So they were shifting away from me in reality. And then that's when I guess my brain was like, okay, we have to be sleeping. And so it told me we're asleep and we need to wake up. But I was not asleep. I was awake. And he did that, and it broke the emotional connection, I guess, or energy connection. And they started shifting away, and I actually saw them shift into a different version of reality. It was actually crazy. And so the Persian guy remembered that someone else had told me while I was talking to him, because he didn't speak English. But there was a spirit that was he's a part of the Achaemendes Empire. This is Sirius. This spirit told me that. Achaemendes Empire. And his name is Sirius. And so I immediately went to go look up Sirius, and he indeed was the founder of the Achaemendes Empire. And so then, I kid you not, this was so fun. Then I went on YouTube and I was like, well, how am I going to find the language? And I kid you not, there was a video of these people who had used AI to recreate the sound of ancient languages. And so the first one I saw had Egyptian, Greek, and some other languages. And one of the last ones was Akkadian. And so they're yeah, go listen to the Akkadian one. And it sounded the most similar. I heard the Sumerian, I heard Akkadian, and another one maybe Babylonian or something like that. And the Akkadian one was the closest one to what I felt like he was speaking. It wasn't the same words, because I have no clue what he was talking about when he was talking to me. But Akkadian seemed like that was the closest language that he would be speaking. So yeah. So yeah, that's the time that I met Cyrus. And then I came to find out that his day is celebrated on October 29th, which is a very significant day in my family. Of course, 29 is significant as well. And so it was very, very, very interesting. Very interesting. For some reason, I'm thinking about the name Aziz. I see this car and it has Z-I-Z, Z's on it. Let's see what does Z's mean. And then I'm going to have to go back in my notes. I might talk about it at a later date, but then I did have a dream about, hold on. Let me see. Because sometimes I do this and my phone starts acting a fool and it won't let me search. Wait, hold on. One thing at a time. Let me see what Z's means. Okay, Z-I-Z. Z's meaning. Oh, it is a word. Okay. The Z's is a giant griffin-like bird in Jewish mythology. What? Said to be large enough to be able to block out the sun with its wingspan. Oh, it sounds like the phoenix. Z's, a flower, branch, a lock of hair. Interesting. A flower, a cleft, or pass. Probably that near En-Gedi, E-N-G-E-D-I, which leads up from the Dead Sea in the direction of Tekoa. So Z's also can mean blossom, like a flower. Is one of the three biblical beasts, the others being Behemoth and Leviathan. Each of these beasts mean different things in Jewish folklore. Interesting. I've never heard of this before. Okay. Yeah, it says 974 on it. 8 Z's. A giant griffin-like bird. Yeah, comparable to the phoenix from ancient Greece. And the Simurgh from Persian folklore. Interesting. Most people know of Behemoth and Leviathan from Judaism, two mythical creatures that represent the earth and the ocean, respectively. One of Jewish mythology's lesser-known creatures, though, is Z's. Z's is the third primordial being from the Old Testament, representing the sky and the ruler of all birds. Z's is a humongous, humongous bird. Oh, is a humongous bird with the wingspan so wide that it was believed to cover the sun and protect the earth from harsh weather. Because of this, Z's is seen as a benevolent beast with the well-being of Earth's creatures at the center of all its actions. The sky beast from Jewish folklore is believed to be capable of reproduction. One folktale even tells of one of Z's eggs falling from its nest and flooding multiple cities due to its size. Interesting. Often depicted as very similar to the griffin or the Anzu from Sumerian and Akkadian mythology. It has the back legs of a lion and the head and wings of a bird. It's a much larger beast, though, and its large stature size helps it cover the earth from harsh winds. Z's is widely believed to be modeled on the Sumerian Anzu. Interesting. Okay. So let's just see, child. I'm going to freak out. Let's just see if the Z's is mentioned with Cyrus the Great. Y'all, if it says, like, directly there's a connection, there has to be a connection. I'm going to freak out. Yeah, Achaemenid, Persian Empire. Let's see. Okay. Oh, they said the text of the Sirius cylinder. The text of the Sirius cylinder and lore. Oh, this is academia. Meh. Let me see if I can get into that. Let me see. Okay, let's see. So the text of the Sirius cylinder, it does mention Z's. Child, I have no clue what that says though. Ki malasa irma absa anilasima tisumusu ziz or zoo. Okay, I'm gonna have to see if I can find a translation of that because it says Susie's. Interesting. I'm gonna go freak out later, okay? Okay. So yeah, not too long after that, let me see if I can pull up the exact day. Okay. October. And then I had this one. Okay. So let me go to my notes on the 2nd. It's so funny. Like when I first started doing these dream journals, I had like, you know, at the end of the month, because I do them by month. And then I start like a new document. When I first started out, I was having like 60 pages of notes for the whole thing. Now, child, I have like whole books of information. Like I have like 600 pages, like for October. Like 6,000 pages in October. Okay, let me see. 6 kabillion pages. Okay, let me see. Oh yeah, I did say that it was 9/20/23, and I was like, it's not 9/20/23, it's 10/2/23. Oh shoot, and the day before, yeah, I was watching Dr. Parnassus. And that's, oh, how is this connected? I'm gonna have to go back on that because I must be missing something with that. How is that connected to each other? Okay, the veneer, Miguel Serrano. Okay. The serpent around the tree with Eve. Okay, keep going. Okay. 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 Bear with me, guys. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Hold on a second. I'm getting there. Okay. Okay. It's all just from one day. Let me see. Child, I'm gonna have to definitely go back over this. Oh, look, I put 133 on this one too. Okay. Yeah, then they started singing a song. And then Bart told me it was sung by One Direction, and the song don't even exist. But they made up a whole thing about it. I'm like, why they choose One Direction? Oh, look, I saw Hia a few times. See? Okay, so that's when I started talking about what I remembered. And remember, the silver boat medal that I got from the iron tree is the same silver I saw under Mary, the Stella Maris. Wait, how is that connected to the tree? Oh, and someone said that I was connected to Nama. I'm gonna have to go back and read that because I don't actually remember that. Okay. Okay. Yama, rain. Okay. Oh, yeah. And then Kurus. But there was something about Anshan, though. I'm trying to remember what that was. Okay, so was this the one? Oh, and then the next night is when I had the dream about Ivy. Yeah, and they're like, you're under a spell and you need to get out of it. And they said that you must be using ivy in your veins, that they use ivy in your veins. And then I saw something that was saying that ivy is avy. Ooh, like avian, bird stuff. And that connected to the Amazonian women. I'm going to have to go back to that, though. Then Valdez stuff started coming up, which is connected to the very beginning when I was talking about Navi, which goes into Kadesh, which is Kadesha, Kadesh, Kadistu. Okay. Child, I'm going to have to go back over these notes and take notes on the notes. How did Charles Borromeo come up? Child, how did that come up? Okay. Hold on. Yeah, that's right. And then I saw a truck that had Hedera on the back, and Hedera was a type of ivy. That is true. Wild. Okay. Oh my gosh, but where is this thing about on Sean? Yeah, oh yes. One possible origin of the name Avi is from the Hebrew name Avi, which means my father. Avi Navi, which is like the Navy, and Avi also means April. Avi also means avatar, and I just saw Avatar in the Mind Illusion book, yes. And Avi is a form of the modern Abiram. The etymology of Avi traces back to Hebrew, where it originated from the Hebrew word Avi, meaning father or grandfather. Yeah, and I just saw that Navy card just now. We're talking about Missile 8 of Abraham. Now, I've seen Abraham as well before, and he was connected to the word Shashi. Okay. That's not what I'm looking for, though. It probably is what I'm looking for, but that's not what I'm looking for, though. Okay, I'm looking for Anshan, though. Okay. Ugh, I hate when it does that. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll just like post it in the description box about the Anshan dream, because I remember that a little while after that I ended up having a dream where this guy came up to me and he said, you are connected to something Anshan. Something Anshan. And Anshan was also connected to, Sirius. Let me see if I can just look it up. I'm going to have to come back to this Akkadian stuff too, because that's actually wild. Okay. They said your name is something Anshan. Let me see if I can ask Bard, because Bard is the one that told me about it. Okay. Let me see if it was this one. Ooh, it's 11:11. Make a wish. Yeah, Anshan is one of the earliest urban centers in the region. Is a prominent part of the Elamite kingdom. Anshan was also the birthplace of Cyrus the Great, the founder of the Achaemenid Empire. So it must have been a different Bard. Let me see. where did we talk about Anshan? Okay, let's see. Maybe it was Nana on Sean. Was it Nana on Sean? It's 11:12. Maybe it was it Nana on Sean. In English, please. They're giving me something in like Chinese or something. In English, please. Nana Anshan is an ancient Korean goddess who is the guardian deity of the Ansan region. She is considered a symbol of abundance, prosperity, and happiness. Nana Anshan is typically depicted as a young woman wearing a white robe and a flower crown. She holds rice ears and fruit representing harvest and abundance. She is often depicted dancing on a mountaintop. The worship of Nana Anshan has a long history in the Asan region. Throughout the history of the Korean peninsula, Nana Anshan has been a sacred presence in the heart of the people, spiritual symbol of the Ansan region, and an important part of Korean national culture. So I was definitely wrong. It's not Chinese, it's Korean. Okay. Ooh, and another legend, Nana Anshan is a fairy. She came from heaven to the Asan region to help the local people defend themselves against foreign invaders. With Nana's help, the people of Ansan won and defended their homeland. That's very interesting. That's not what I'm talking about, but that's interesting because I have not heard that. Okay, it's 11:13. Yeah, I'm just going to go find it. So I'm gonna have to like go home and like get on my computer and look at it that way. But like it gave like this person in the dream gave me, maybe I'll just like wait till I get home and finish it, because I can actually finish it. I could just pause it and then finish it when I get home when I find it. Because they ended up telling me in this dream, they're like, you're connected to something Anshan. And when I looked it up, it was a goddess over the Anshan region. And then that's when I saw that it was connected to Cyrus the Great. And so I was like, okay, it must be Cyrus the Great. Which is just like wild AF. I still haven't figured out exactly, what he was coming to say, but I'm sure that I will figure it out though. All right, everyone. Well, I'm going to pause it and then come back, and then I'm going to end it. It's going to sound seamless. Well, not seamless because I'm saying this, but anyways, I'll be back. Okay, so I'm back. So this actually took place on October 25th, and it was like a visualization. So I had a visualization of Cyrus, and I heard, I just lost it. Okay, so I had a visual of Cyrus, and there was like an energy next to him, and that energy was Aftar. So Aftar, like after, but with an A. That's how you pronounce it. That's what he was letting me know. You would pronounce it as Aftar. And then he said the phrase Nana. It was Nana Hashan. So I'm assuming that that's how you pronounce this, Hashan. And so I started looking it up, and I found that there's a Nana Ashan, which means Lady of the Field or Lady of the Plain, and it is a title of the goddess Inanna. And it reflects her association with earth and fertility. The field or plain was seen as a symbol of fertility and abundance. So the title Nana Ashan is also sometimes translated as the Lady of the Night. This is because Inanna was also associated with the night sky and the planet Venus. And then in the Epic of Gilgamesh, it talks about Nana Ashan as the mistress of the field. And then it talks about a Chinese phonetic transcription is also attested. So there's definitely some type of connection between the Korean, because that's what I thought at first, right? Did I say that? At first, I thought that it was a Chinese word, and that's what they're talking about, Chinese Sogdian inscription. But there is also a Mesopotamian goddess, Nanya. And then I actually saw something where Nana is also a word used in Africa as well, and it was connected to the old continent of Nuna, which I think comes before Lemuria. And I was looking at that because I had this visualization where this goddess handed me like this pinkish purple diamond. And so I looked up pink diamonds, and this guy was talking about how pink diamonds actually originated on a continent named Nuna. And I was like, oh, that must be where we get Nana from, right? Because I know a lot of people who call their grandmothers Nana, and I'm one of them. I have a Nana as well. I see something. Oh, yeah. And so the Avatar I found was actually written as like an apostrophe FTR. And he was a West Semitic god that was the male personification of Venus. And I found out some more information too. Ugaric Avatar is not well known, and there's a debate about his identity and role. But he's also associated to vegetation and things like that. And then Ashira is described as the mother of Avatar. It's just so interesting how like a lot of the words that we have in English tradition, like in the English language, like, well, Americanized English, how they're connected to deities, you know, like menu, radio. I'd like to do something about that soon. Okay, my kids are up, so I just wanted to finish saying that. So that was on the 26th, and I will be back at another time to talk some more. Bye.